So what is going on, guys? And finally it is here. It is the FIFA 14 PS4 Stoke career mode. That's right, guys, we are continuing our career mode, or starting a career mode I should say, with Stoke City. Obviously we're going to be playing at the Britannia Stadium, as that is their real stadium and we want to make it as realistic as possible. We're going to be playing on world class 4 minutes, and obviously we're going to be downloading the latest squads. Also we're going to be playing in Euros because I'm used to playing in Euros, and also I am from Spain, I live in Spain, so I'm used to Euros more than I am pounds. As you hear, we are actually downloading the latest squads, as I think it does make it more realistic with the latest squads. And also we also get the latest players and the players that are out on loan, etc, etc, which also makes it more interesting as a perspective point of view. Obviously, as a manager, I've decided to call myself FIFA Juiced, mainly because of the channel called FIFA Juiced. I couldn't come up with any other name at this moment in time, so that's the name I went with. Before I did come up with Marshmallow and stuff like that, but I thought I'd just keep it simple and don't complicate things for you guys. And yeah, it's finally here. I do not have the actual HDMI cable yet, but I have borrowed one off of the TV in my lounge, so my mum and dad aren't the happiest people in the world that they haven't got TV at the moment, but still I'm using that at the moment. But our league objective is to finish mid-table, and our league cup objective is to reach the round of 16. Both of them I think I can achieve, and both of them I think I can achieve better than. We're going to go in and have a look at the squad now, as Stoke don't have the worst squad in the world, but they don't have the best squad in the world either. So we've got Asmir Begovic, Juve Cameron, Ryan Shawcross is an extremely good player. We also have Mark Wilson, Eric Peters, Peter Odemwinger, who's not in my plans whatsoever, Steven Ndonzi, one of the best players on the club, Whelan, Matthew Everington, getting a little bit old now, Jonathan Walters, not too bad, Peter Crouch, which I'm looking to try and sell because I really do not like Peter Crouch. Don't know what's about him, but I do not like him. I think he's awful in the games. But the good thing is we also have Mark Muniesa, Wilson, Palacios, John Guidetti, Stephen Ireland, Wilkinson, Shotton, Robert Hughes, Osama Asaidi, who's on loan from Liverpool, and Nautovic was a new signing for us, Charlie Adam, and then we go into the youth squad, which aren't going to be used much, and hopefully I might actually end up selling some of those players on, or maybe even just loaning them out, or even releasing them from the contract, the really, really bad ones. So that is a squad for you. That's a squad that I'm going to be working for. I have already chosen a lot of players I want to be interested in. Actually, there, Angel Correa was one of them, but unfortunately he has just reached has just joined the club, and they're not going to let him go. So that's a little bit disappointing for me. Bernat is a player from Valencia. They did say they want 3.5 million for him, or 3.9 million. I decided to offer Juve Cameron and 500 grand, as they do play in the same position, but Bernat is one rating lower. I believe he's around that 71, 72 rated, but he's only 19 years old and he's very, very quick, and hopefully he should have good potential. Nabil Bentaleb, they only wanted 1 million for him, so I decided to go in a little bit cheeky here and go in for 4.5 million, which, as I would expect it, Tottenham would decline, but you just have to wait and see whether they decline or accept it, because Nabil Bentaleb I think is a very good player that we could have in the squad to come on in substitutes. He can make a big difference. He is making a name for himself at Tottenham right in this moment in time. He's playing extremely well for them, and hopefully he can become a big player for us at Stoke. Another player that we're interested in was Alex Telles. He's a left wing back, but they did want 14 million, which is a ridiculous amount of money for a player that's only 20 years old, and he's not that known either. These are the other players that we're interested in. Maximilian Meyer, they wanted 10 million. That was just, because I haven't even got a big budget at Stoke, so I'm not going to be going in for stupid amount of money for players that aren't even that well developed, and that I want to buy players that are well developed or not pay much, and get players that do have good potential. Another good player that I really wanted to get was this guy. This guy's an absolute animal, only 19 years old. Unfortunately, they did want 16.5 million for him, but I decided to drop it down to about 6.5 million and offer a player for that as well. That player that I did offer, or maybe I didn't offer one in this one, or maybe it was Wilson Palacios. Yeah, Wilson Palacios, 6.5 million. He is only 19 years old. He's striker. He's 6'1". He is pretty quick. He's very strong, and this centre back matches that description also, as he is a very good centre back, quite young. Fabian Schär, even though they wanted 10 million, I believe I could drop their price and try and lure him into the club and get him at the Britannia Stadium. Dale Jennings unfortunately couldn't come to the club, as he had only just joined Barnsley. So mainly I'm trying to force or try and improve our squad. Obviously I haven't got the budget to go ahead and buy a world-class player that was going to help us win the league, because I just haven't got that, and that's not my objective. But Noah Bentaleb is one player that I am interested in, and we did up our bid to 7.5 million to try and lure him into the club. and hopefully that would have got him into the club. But before that, Alex Telles still not accepting the offer, so we keep going. 6.5 million for Odin Wingy, because Odin Wingy is definitely not in my plans. I think he's too old. His rating's going to start going down pretty soon, and because of that, I think we need to try and get him off as soon as possible and get as much money as we can as soon as possible before his rating completely goes down, and he's not in my plans anyway. But Bernat did come back, and we decided to offer 2.5 million for Bernat to see if we could get him into the club, and they do actually come back and accept the deal from Valencia, which I was very, very pleased about. But before that, we did get a counter offer from Basel, and they wanted 7.5 million for Shah, but I decided to offer 5.5 plus a player, and that player that I can't really remember, but that player that I did offer was Wilson Palacios plus 3 million, and I ended up having to up it to about 5.5 million to see if they would accept it. But Standard Liège once again not accepting it either, and I'm just keep having to up the bids as no players whatsoever are accepting the bids at the moment, so I'm just going to have to keep upping the bids until one team actually accepts the bid and gives us permission to go and speak to the player that we are after. Maximilian Meyer once again saying that he wants 10 million. We're saying no, so that's it. We forgot about him now, and we're going to move on to another player. But Galatasaray once again not accepting that. But here the good news is Spurs and Valencia both accepted the transfer offers for Nabil Bentaleb and for Bernat. These are two extremely good players. I think Nabil Bentaleb, I think his rating's not going to be that good in FIFA, but if it's in the high 60s, I would be very pleased for a player that only cost me 750 grand and only 6 grand on the wage bill, which is very good if we could lure him into the club. Also, Bernat would be probably he would force himself into the first team, as he is a pretty good player, and I think that he's got good potential to try and become a first team choice every game, and one of those players that you rest day in day out to try and get them fit for the big games. So they mainly are the two players that have accepted the deal so far, or the clubs accepted them and allowed us to speak to the clubs, or to the players I should say. Also, Basel say they want to up the bid to 6.7 million, but I decided to up it to 5.5 million, and I wasn't prepared to go any higher than that, because I think he's not going to be the best rated player at the club, so I don't want to splash out a lot of cash plus a player to try and bring him in. But Standard Liège, we do also go in for, I cannot pronounce his name, he is a striker, he's 19 years old, I'll try and pronounce his name, but I'm not sure whether it's right, but Batshuayi, I'm not sure if that's right, but I decided to offer Peter Crouch plus 8.5 million, because Peter Crouch, like I said, is not in my plans, and I believe this player, even though if he's the same rating as Crouch, 8.5 million would be a very good investment, because I do know this player has got a potential of about 86, which is a massive potential. Also, as you can see there, we do accept, or Bernat and Nabil Bentaleb both accept the contracts, and I was very pleased, and they are the two new signings coming to the club, so 2 new signings for me, which I'm very pleased to announce, and they should be, or could help me win the league, or not win the league, but win my objective, so I should say. Fabian Schär also does accept, or Basel accept the contract or the deal, and we go ahead and offer him a 25 grand a week contract, which I don't think is very much, to be honest, for a player of his quality. Also, the big man up front accepts the deal, and we go in to offer him a contract, so hopefully he would accept that before the end of this episode finishes, so you guys can see that. Hopefully he would, but I can't guarantee anything. Actually, Fabian Schär does actually accept the deal, but we stalled it for the moment because I was waiting to see if we could get our striker in, because if we accepted that, we wouldn't have been able to accept the striker. But as you see there, Batshuayi does accept the deal. We do go ahead and accept him, and here's another player joining the club, which I'm very pleased to announce. And also Fabian Schär, we do end up stalling it to change our wage negotiations, and we do go in and accept it. So Fabian Schär is another player that we've added to our list coming into the Britannia Stadium, and hopefully can really help me progress in my career. But we do have a very difficult friendly, and surprisingly, we drew 2-2 against PSG, and PSG scored in the 89th minute. Thankfully, we do go on to win this one against Atlanta away from home 2-0, goals from Nzonzi and Shawcross, and the last game was up against a very difficult side, which is Juventus, and we were expecting to lose this one, but once again, it was a very close game, and we ended up losing 2-1, but a goal from Batshuayi is very impressive for me that he actually scored. And we are actually now going to be approaching the end of this video, so I really would appreciate if you could leave a like, as it's the first episode of my FIFA 14 PS4 career mode. So thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you next time. Bye bye.